Welcome, young Skywalker. I have been expecting you. Normally I do gaming videos where I shoot people, strangle them and drag their corpses into some corner. But today I wanted to talk about something more serious, like the problems that's going on here in the Western world, Europe, and if not enlighten people of what's happening, awaken them from their slumber, at least I can bring some acknowledgements to others that this is actually going on. But first off, I wanted to talk about this fake news wars that's going on. So basically, in the recent American election, there have been accusations that there's these InfoWars, that they are conspiracy theorists, that they bring out infactual facts, that they're complete liars and no one should trust them because they're basically destroying stability of Western civilized world, that they are being funded by the Russians to, spread false propaganda and all of these things. But I mean, it's not true. Listen to what the mainstream media says. I mean, they all say the same things. Whenever it's a homosexual, you have to embrace it. You have to love the fact that it's there, Anyone that says against is evil, corrupt, you name it, they get fired. And if it's about refugees, it's basically the same thing. You're supposed to open your arms to them. And I have to reload the battery, damn it.
12 seconds later.
There we go. It's so hot. Alright. I think I'm doing that now. Alright. Sorry about that. My battery ran low, so I had to put the charger in. Anyway, where was I? Now I remember. I was about the refugees, right? And anyway, so these refugees, you have to accept them also. And I mean, even the Pope says, embrace them and, mate with them. Because we're here in Europe, we don't mate with each other enough. I mean, I think we in humanity are in too many numbers. I mean, too many people were assaulting war, etc. But who knows, maybe he's completely spiritual and is, naive like that. But perhaps he's also dragged into this globalist mess, into thinking this way. But regardless, it's obvious that their opinion is one-sided, because anytime you say a news about Donald Trump, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad, right? When it's about Hillary Clinton, she comes up with ideas. She's gonna be the first female president, and all of this. It's all about this sexism and racism, that's their agenda, that's basically how they're gonna win the people over in some way. And this InfoWars is actually something I've basically looked for a long time, because I've noticed for so long that these things are false, because here in Sweden we are brainwashed to, love these things. We can't think any different. And anytime someone comes and says something different in radio, they are immediately being, like, oh, no, you can't speak about that, that's wrong, goodbye, next, it's really silly like that. And all of this of free speech, of democracy, it isn't really there. I mean, this is more like, a dictatorship, imperialism growing slowly and steadily. And the reason why I say it's imperialism is because we all supposed to think the same thing. And when you merge all these people together, it will just become one big empire eventually. But let's stick to this fake news media. I highly recommend you checking out InfoWars, just to, check it out and see why they're so different, why they are being called these things, if you agree. Because if you're gonna sit there and listen to the media, that's the only thing you're gonna hear. if you don't check it out for yourself, you won't know. Because they won't allow you to know the truth. Because they will spread the lies. And I mean, the mainstream media is the actual liars, because they are manufacturing stories. They are the actual ones that, you know, lies about facts and can even make a fake headline and then in the end of the text admit that it's fake. And I mean, when people does that, of course people is gonna believe it. Some people are like only reading headlines, and some people might read halfway through, and you know, they won't know that the headline was fake, that the article was basically ingenuine to what's actually true. But I do think that these InfoWars aren't correct on everything. I mean, sometimes they do investigate some things, and for example, they investigated Pizzagate and it got some confusion. People believed they had some form of child molesting in the basement and whatsoever, you know, demon worshipping. But so a guy came with a shotgun and, you know, shot the door, because that would be the most humane thing to do, right? To save these kids from these satanic worshippers, but turned out to be, you know, just empty rooms. Who knows, maybe there is actually a hidden hatch like in those movies, but no, what this actually was a secret pedophile language they had in emails, from what I understand. But you know, it can be a bit misinterpreted, but also as a viewer you have to try to listen carefully and, you know, not jump to conclusion when it comes to things like this, but always be aware and try to give a not your view from different sources, from a broader, well, of course it can be difficult to get from different sources when you only have fake media besides, but there's other channels. I mean, the Truth Channel, Mark Dice, I guess Anonymous Updates can also be enlightening, and there's other conservatives or people that are trying to bring out this other truth that are being hidden from the media. And mainly what is concerning me with these people, and also Donald Trump seems to take in a lot of things that these people say, is about global warming. I'm a, you know, eco crazy guy. I would do anything for nature if it would mean to save it. And unfortunately they don't think that global warming is a problem. They think it's a hoax, which I think is really sad, because, you know, if you look at the winters here, there's barely any snow anymore. I mean, right now there is some outside, but it used to be a lot more in the winters. And if you look at the North Pole, it's melting. I mean, there's even proof of satellite pictures depicting that, unless they're manufactured, of course, but I don't think so. And obviously it's a great problem. But they refuse to acknowledge it. But the thing is, with nature, I just want to say it because otherwise I might never do a video about it, because I get confused and do videos about other stuff. Is that if this global warming continues, and, you know, let's say all the mountains, the North Pole, the Antarctic will melt away, then we have a huge problem, because all of these countries like Japan or Scandinavia or Mexico, Netherlands, countries that got close proximity to water, they will be overflooded, right? And what will happen when people run out of resources, because people mine out resources, or countries will be drowning in water? There will be massive war. It will be an entire war out of conflict, because you can't just take in 150 million people out of nowhere. That just won't happen. It will be a territorial war, and it will just be worldwide, because there's countries all over the world that's close to water, and we constantly chop down entire ecosystems with animals, we extinct them. We have poachers, you know, hunting these majestic creatures like elephants and giraffes, rhinos, hippoponies, I don't remember what they're called, and they're being extinct, and we just allow it to happen. If we wanted to, we could do a lot more to protect these, majestic creatures, to protect these races. And I mean, there are some even people that are so open with this race thing, you know, like we with human. We destroy our cultures by taking people in from different worlds. The imperialism thing I talked about. And same thing with animals. Some people take in these wild animals and releases them into their countries, and they fight with territory amongst themselves. And some of the native animals, they are being extinct because people take in some bigger version that actually can live in that habitat, that fights for territory and, you know, completely chase off and kills the animals that already exist. I mean, it's a race war, not just between mankind, you know, in this debacle that, you know, you should be multicultural and stuff like that, but the animals themselves have to fight for their survival, because we humans can transport them in this unnatural way and force nature to evolve in this crude fashion. I mean, it's just inhuman. We humans are becoming less human, and when things like this happen, it's very saddening. But I want to say on a positive note, though, that it's InfoWars. This Alex Jones is a very inspiring character, I must say. I like overall InfoWars, but I think it's good with criticism, because that's what this is all about. It's the free press. The people are supposed to speak out their mind, right? And, you know, challenge these high powers to, you know, make sure that they won't be corrupt. Right? That's the thing with journalism, but the mainstream media isn't free press. It isn't. It's corrupt, bought media by this globalists, right? And check out their videos about that, because all of these guys can explain it 1,000 times better than me, but I'm gonna try eventually in this video as well. But in other case, it's good to, you know, have them listen to criticize, if they listen. I mean, usually people don't listen to my blah, blah, never mind that pessimistic view of myself. But if you can't listen to the negative things about yourself, or, you know, then we won't grow. And so I figured it would be good to say those things, and also to you, to show my honest view that they're not just completely perfect. They're humans. They make mistakes like us. But in general, I think they do actually speak a lot more truth than the actual media. And it's confusing when, you know, two sides are just launching comments like, they're fake media, they're fake media, they're fake media, they're fake media. Of course, both sides are gonna say perhaps some less truthful things at times, and perhaps one is more consistent about telling the truth, which I think is the InfoWars. But it's, I wouldn't say that they always speak lies on one side or the other. And also is that I think, like, it's true that people are trying to reject Christianity. It's that, you know, atheism is being more and more popularized. I mean, they will use this war with ISIS as a propaganda throughout for the future, I mean, and teach in the history that, you know, religion is bad. Look at what they did. They would have declared wars in ages because of religion. But people don't look at the bright side of religion. It's that it binds us together. It makes laws that make sense. Read the 10 Commandments, and if everyone would follow that, there wouldn't be war. There wouldn't be infidel case. People would be married and strong together, right? And you know, people wouldn't hurt each other. It would be a very humane society. And then we wouldn't need refugees, because they would be able to be safe in their countries. We would be able to work together. But it depends how you understand these 10 Commandments. I mean, people might be like, oh, what a load of bull crap this is, you know, but that's the modern time. And what this Alex Jones does is that he is open about that he's a Christian. He's open that he believes in God. And I feel it's very nice, because here in Sweden, I mean, I was put in this mental institute and they were like, you're religious? Really? Like, it's a bad thing. Like, are you dumb? Don't start any drama here, okay? You know, that's how they are. This is insanity. I think that's a very warm part that doesn't exist in many other places. Also, try to check out for yourself and get an understanding. That's basically what I'm trying to say, instead of being brainwashed by liars like Hillary Clinton that will lie about her being shot at and had to rush into a car when she was actually standing there with children taking pictures, signing autographs, and were greeted by awesome military men. And this was in Bosnia, and she even lied to the news agency that was with her at the time. So I'm just happy they released this footage. And well, there's a lot of conspiracies and blah blah blah, dark truths to people like this, but search it, look it up for yourselves, because if I will say it, you most likely won't believe it. But to our next stop, we will go to the Second World War. But before I pause here, because I'm tired and stuff, it will be a bit more historical and stuff like that, you know, like why it has become like it is now with the media. So yeah, and it's kind of dogmatic in a way, because I will go with facts I've heard and my own theories, I guess you could say, but you might find them rather truthful in a way, but we'll see. That's up to you, the viewer. Thank you. So what is it exactly, this global conspiracy that is this globalist, this New World Order, Illuminati, Bilderberg Group, or left Nazi, whatever you want to call them? What are they trying to accomplish? Who are they? And where did it all start? So basically, I guess you could say, back even from when Darwin lived, there were scientists that wrote their documents and books about a scientific elite that would control the world. They would be smarter than everyone, and they would just keep people pacified. You know, how to make it say, they would be like tranquils. They would not really feel or have any emotions of their own other than what they would be programmed to. I mean, imagine how you can tame a person with medicine, for example. You can make an aggressive person completely tame by just sedating him. And imagine in the future, if science goes as it has been, and I mean, there's already stuff that makes people, you know, do things that they don't want to just because you give them drugs of kinds. So basically they will genetically modify us to become what they want to purpose us to be. And we'll be eating, you know, a certain amount of dosage every day. They will keep us in greater cities just to keep it compact and simple for production value. And yeah, our freedom will be limited. We won't be choosing like, yeah, today I want to try to find this type of job or whatever. You'll be assigned. This will be a very, how to say, it will be imperialism. You will be controlled. Your free will won't matter. We are creating dictatorship by supporting this globalist thought. They don't care about race, they don't care about cultures, they don't care about religion. They care only about their advancement and power. And whether this global elite that's today is the same thing these geniuses wrote about, this scientific elite. I mean, they even prophesized about things like computers and robots, that you should keep track on mankind. And I mean, the robots, well, they technically was here. I mean, they mentioned things like AI that were going to help us mankind with doing simple tasks and keeping on check on things. But in any case, the globalists that's here today, they aren't necessarily these scientific types. For what we believe today is that there are these bankers. They buy the world. They use these politicians as puppets. I mean, look at the media. They all say the same thing, basically. And anyone that says anything different are being fired. And I mean, when things are going on like this, it's no free press. It's obvious. They're being bought off by these rich people, bankers. And I mean, there have been lots of whistleblowers, as some says, or to put it in a simple fashion way, people that are seeing the corrupt people in their workplace. For example, people doing economics, they see things going badly there. People in the CIA, they reveal their own documents. I mean, Edward Snowden, for example, or recent but anonymously have revealed documents, but of course they're gonna blame Russia for that. I mean, they always blame Russia. So anyway, we got some of the basics of the history, but I still recommend you to check out other channels. I mean, I have been thinking about these things for a long time, how they would indoctrinate people, and when they will merge people like this together, they will extinct our religions, our cultures, our races, perhaps even genders. Who knows how far they'd go. That's perhaps a different globalists that are now, but that was the core idea from the very beginning. How far they'll go, that's a different thing, but it's for certain that race, culture and religion will be gone because they don't value those things very highly. And you can notice that by watching the media. Of course, people, for example, when I say religion, people might disagree because they are very sensitive about religions and stuff. But haven't you noticed what is happening with Christianity overall? I mean, if you mention any other god, well, perhaps Buddha and stuff, people won't really care. But when it comes to, Jews that were harassed, they scream like, oh, you can do this, you can do that. And well, if you do characteristics about Muhammad, you'll get shot by them. But, well, not necessarily the media. But in any case, if you do this about Jesus, crucify him and make jokes that, even satanic, people won't care, like whatever. It's not that bad. It's actually kind of fun. So you see the picture? But in any case, some time went by because these minds lived for a few hundred years ago. The Second World War came. And what was this war about? Yes, it was an ideological war, right? This was basically determination for these people that were following this globalist conspiracy. There was communism, the far left, and you had the Nazis or the fascism. Nazis are an evolved form of that, so it's more to the right. And it looks wrong on the camera because my left is your right, and my right is, you get the point, whatever. So in any case, and then you had a freedom, and they're a sort of strange bunch, the Western civilization, basically. And this war was basically gonna determine the outcome of the future, the direction they were going to take, right? So if the Nazis would have won, they would probably have been on the side of the Nazis. But if the communists would have even brought war to the West and win all of that, perhaps they would even then consider being with them. Hell, they probably would have, because they sort of want the same things, right? To keep the people tame, poor, and restrict their free will in a way of sorts. But that's not most likely the case, that they would want the communists to win, because they would want the power for themselves. And same thing with Nazis, because, well, it's about nationalism, keeping the power within. But perhaps they would persuade people with money to do their bidding instead, regardless of outcome. But probably the best and simplest for them, the Western. And with this Second World War victory, nationalism got thrown into a pulp. I mean, because the right, extreme right, they took nationalism far too much to the right, instead of, you know, being medium about it. No, mankind, this is the great problem with mankind. Mankind always wants more. Whether you have one card in a card game, you're always gonna try to gather more cards, right? Or if it's about money, you're always gonna want to gain some more money out of a deal. You always want more. We are greedy. Very greedy people. This nationalism, they just wanted too much. They created their dictatorship, because that was the core fundamentals of fascism, originated from Mussolini in Italy. And they will have strong economy within their own borders, because you can't really rely on Brazil to bring meat to Sweden if it's a world war, or if we get bad friends with them, or if they get like Zika viruses into their animals and we eat that meat. Not very good, but you get the point. But in general, they wanted to promote national pride, to do strong progresses within your own country, and they wouldn't really mind if they had to take some other small countries to justify their great nation's upcoming, which is wrong. I mean, never mind my own agenda or ideology here. So, since they lost with this nationalist fault, obviously this Western globalists decided to be like, this can be used as a weapon, and we have always been racist. We have always been this very judgmental people from before the Second World War. But if you look at the 1960s, that started to change. For example, the Democrats were very racist, but all of a sudden they decided to be like, nope, we're gonna be nice to everyone, and because they saw this were their opportunity to change things around. And these scientists saw this 20th century, or 21st century as some call it, but I don't know why, because it's the 20th. But never mind. In the 2000s, the globalists would have won, they assumed. Perhaps it's a bit of religious, because some people would believe that Jesus would return, and well, even in some crazier theories, they believe that some dark messiah will come rather than actually Jesus, and that will convince people to follow this globalism. But that's a bit too much, I think. But in any case, that's what some believe, so you perhaps should be forewarned of that. This globalism just have grown everything. And I mean, look at today. Today, you're forced to accept homosexual marriage. You're forced to love migrants, refugees coming into your country. Police covers things up that's going badly. You have celebrities coming out, I'm gay, and they have a family, and people applaud it. You know, like, it's the greatest thing ever. And in the yesterday's world, all of these things will be abominable. And now, we cherish it like it's some kind of golden treasure. Or at least the media does. I mean, they do. Because I sure as hell don't. And I know that a lot of other people don't. But having any, even the smallest difference of opinion, will get you called a racist, a sexist, or, you know, whatever. Xenophobe, I mean, what the fuck? You want to love aliens? That's gonna probably have the agenda to conquer our world for their own good. I mean, having to listen to our own thoughts of why we should try to reach other worlds. Yes, we're running out of resources, and if an alien finds our world, it will spell out certain doom. it will probably be some form of scout or something that will then send their armada over here to conquer us. Why? Because they need resources. They're running out. Like Independence Day. Have you seen that movie? Yes, the reason to invade Earth is because they lack of resources. They feed out of other planets. And of course the moral here is that it's a bad thing, but basically we're gonna be hypocrites and do the same thing in the future. So, yeah. But hopefully, perhaps humanity will prevail over our selfishness and determinedness for destroying others. But regardless, for every small new rule we make, for every new thing we are forced to embrace, every new thing we are forced to accept, we will just go down further and further a dark path. I mean, who knows, perhaps one day you have to love pedophilia all of a sudden, because it's a natural thing. I mean, lots of people are attracted to children, and lots of people, it's the same thing as being homosexual. You're just, you just love them, man. You should just go. No, it's wrong. Period. There's nothing right about it. It's plain wrong. But who knows? Maybe I'm over-exaggerating, but it certainly seems like it's getting more popular by each day. Just listen to all the child rapes. An Iraqi guy raped a 12-year-old boy, or was it 10-year-old, I don't remember now. But in any case, he got released because he didn't know the boy wanted to have sex with him. Wow, you know, applause to the jury that released him. The guy is a rapist, nothing more. But, you know, obviously, he was a migrant and he had same-sex attraction, so obviously he was supposed to let go, because it would otherwise have gone against their agenda. And basically, these globalists are in control of us now. They have the upper hand. If you look around, the Americans have military bases all over the world. You know, they have hundreds of them. And Russia have like only a few. Not many at all. And all they say is constantly that Russia is bad, Russia is bad. It was Russia who hacked the elections of America. It was the Russians that hired these goons to spread fake news. It was Donald Trump supported by Russians. It was Russians' fault that economy is going bad in Europe. It was Russians' fault. It was war in the Middle East. Yes, war. It is fake media talking right now. Ya Ruski, ya lie to you. That's what they want you to believe. They blame everything on the Russians. But that's just propaganda. It's plain out bullshit. They said that Putin wants war with Europe. He's gonna bring it. But in fact, it is we who have harassed them. We turned our weapons towards them. But of course, we're gonna say that they are turning their weapons towards us. Well, they do it because they have to be prepared for war, right? Because obviously, people like Hillary Clinton are trying to provoke war. That's what the Middle East have been all about all this time. That's why they rig wars. That's why they rig elections. Because they want people to fight each other. We grow weak, and then we fight each other. And then they will gain, because we will be so focused on the infighting that we won't see what's going on behind the curtains. It's like they made a movie where they're trying to paint a picture of black and white. Right? A good side and a bad side. And obviously the Russians are the bad people here. And the good people are, well, we the globalists, because we are so free. We are so, well, not free actually, but we believe in these things that are so beautiful, and these people would say anything to destroy us. And I mean, Hillary Clinton, she has been at this for a long time. You know, we should, you know, declare war with these people, and Russians are bad, they are main threat, they're gonna create World War III. But she's the only one egging on for war. If you actually listen to the leaders, for example, the Syrian leader is a very intellectual person, but he recognizes that, you know, the Western only portrays a child to claim, or it could be any child, I mean, it's no proof of evidence of the location or whatever, but they're gonna say, look at these children, they died in hospital bombing, it was so sad. Of course it's sad, but it's war. And there's always casualties in war. Only a naive person will believe that, oh no, no one shoots kids in wars. I mean, for fuck's sake, people rape kids and stuff. I mean, look at what happened at Vietnam when America invaded there. Oh, wait, America was only the only country in ever history to bomb an actual civilization. Yes, they bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki in the Second World War. And what do they have to justify that? Well, they were attacked in a military base. Impressive. But seriously, if you look back in history, they can come out of any war on top and be still loved by people, because people are brainwashed by them. I mean, this media holds them, and it's like these Darwinists wrote and the others, that people believe they are happy. They believe they want this. And that's how they keep controlling us. The only thing we have to do is to open our eyes. And one KGB agent explained this very simple method of how to brainwash a country. And I have also thought about this for a long time, but you know, it's so enlightening to see what I've been talking about in a much more refined form. You know, I can explain things to you, they would sound ludicrous, but when a genius like this sits down and talks, it sounds, you know, completely true. It's you know, they bring my thoughts out to words. I speak in riddles when I try to explain things. But, you know, finding this great man that can sit and explain something, that's, you know, breathtaking. So basically, what he spoke about was that in old India and, of course, communist Russia and some Arab country, there was, you know, infighting and blah, blah, blah of control, and they wanted to remove this. But you can't just remove people's opinions overnight, right? So what they have to do is to slowly make this procedure happen. And the best way, first of all, in this modern time, is to make the children different. You do it by taking generation after generation. You breed a few generations in school with propaganda, so they will believe differently. For example, they're gonna believe different about the school system and how politics works. For example, let's say Russia has been loved for a long time. Now they're gonna learn that Russia is actually evil, that they have done bad things over time. And this is a slow but steady brainwash process. The first step in this simple procedure is to demoralize the people. Make them sad and make them angry at what's going on in the world, you know, in the country, because this was more of a national thing. But take account, this can be done in a global scale, which is already been dealt. And then you will make it into destabilization. From demoralization into destabilization. What this means that people will start to perhaps riot, people will be very angry, and, you know, economic, financial disputes, you know, it will be a problem, you know, perhaps through threat of war or economics breakdowns, and after destabilization there will be a crisis where these things are actually happening. It will be very radical, and then to, you know, simply change all this, it's very simple. Normalization. Because what you have done is make something good bad. You go up, 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 and then you go down, down, down. And when you hit rock bottom, you can only go up. So then you're gonna go up, up, up by normalize. So if it's a war, they roll in with tanks and say, we saved you, we are the heroes, praise us. And if it gets economics, of course, they make people a bit richer again. I mean, it's been proven in the past. It has happened many times, and this is happening on a global scale. Can't you see it? They're trying to make us angry. we have problem with refugees, money and blah blah blah. Of course we're not supposed to admit to any of those things. And of course these wars, we're gonna be afraid of terrorists and whatsoever. But they want to bring this third world war, probably. I mean, perhaps they will fail because people perhaps will see through the lies. And yes, that's how we beat this process. The truths are right there. They're right in front of us. It's no secret these globalists are going on. It's no secret, at least, that the governments are trying to do this. I mean, whether you believe there's some rich families behind this that's gonna become the future global elite, that's a different thing, but it has been announced.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
But if you don't believe that, I mean, then you still have the governments with this propaganda. It's still out there. They're still trying to do these things. I mean, look at these refugees that's coming into our countries. They're there to cause chaos. I mean, they're fighting on the streets of Paris. Look at the terrorists that have come with them. I mean, my country, Sweden, is one of the most with radical people of Nazis and terrorists. I mean, there's hundreds of terrorists here that have come. But they're being, you know, like, they have apartments given freely to them. They have food given freely to them. So they don't need to commit terrorist attacks here. They just go to Paris or wherever. They can cause, you know, even more greater panics and fear. But here they recruit people into bars. They go like this into a cafeteria and ask, you know, other people that look Arabic and be like, Ahwen, Yesaid, you wanna join us? These things are actually going on. It's very chaotic. And I mean, if you look at my hometown, they burn cars every day, every day. I remember when I worked, you know, people were scared because there were gangs of like 8 of these refugees or migrants, because, well, I don't know how long they have lived here. Some people perhaps shorter, some people perhaps their entire lives. But because this process has been going on for a very long time. And these people just sits and vandalizes all day, and the police, they don't bother. They don't have power to do anything, really. So when people call, please, please, please help, we don't dare to go outside our homes. The police are like, no, it's not that bad. As long as you stay inside your doors, you're safe. I mean, is that how you're supposed to treat your citizens? Is that how you're creating order? No, you're creating chaos. I mean, people will grow fed up with this, and eventually there will be infighting. And people have come up to me and been like, you know, praying or like crying to me, like, please do something. We're scared. And the guy got attacked. He got kicked in the stomach by guys running on a scooter. And he called the police. They wouldn't come. Like, and he was really hurt. I mean, if you get kicked in or punched in the stomach without, you know, tensioning your muscles, like Houdini, he got attacked by surprise. You can have internal bleedings and die. It's very, very serious. And for me, I was, you know, angry. And, you know, the worst thing I said was that I was thought about slicing the tires of my boss that, you know, didn't want to give me any pay for the hard work I did, even when I worked in Christmas and, you know, worked black because I wanted to impress him. And of course my great love wanted to impress her as well. But never mind. I saw my boss on this when I crossed the road. That's why I thought about slicing his tires. But I said, But I restrained myself and went to this meeting. It was right before the damn meeting. And then they decided to be like, yeah, he's a psychotic, we're gonna send him to the hospital. But I'm completely sane. They have taken blood samples and whatever. They can't find anything, they can't prove anything. So, you know, they're full of shit. And they sent 4 cops to arrest me. And they came as I greeted my father when he came home from work. How low is that? So obviously, with police covering up crimes like this, I mean, for example, this famous Sara Larsson, a Swedish artist that won Idol and is quite renowned around the world, I'd say now. She was also saying things like this. Then the police are covering up these gangs that comes into her festivals, where young girls are standing there and trying to have a good time, right? Listen to their idol. But these guys are sexually harassing them. They're touching them, you know, and things like this. And they are being violated on live shows. And she's speaking out against this. You know, these assholes, blah blah blah. And the media is like, you can't say that. They're good people. They come here. It doesn't matter what race and color they are. If they're an asshole, they're an asshole. And people refuse to admit this. It's like, no, they're refugees. Come on, you can't be like this. Migrants, whatever you want to fucking call them. They're still disgusting by the way they're acting. I mean, they have no respect for Swedish culture. They come here and violate us. And look at what happened into India. You need nationalism, otherwise things will go badly. They had the English there that oppressed them. They slaughtered them even because they refused to accept their British colonized control. But Gandhi said, no, we won't retaliate. We will do this peacefully. And eventually they did it peacefully. But they had another problem, of course. The Hindus and the Muslims wasn't good friends. So, not long after the victory to bring out the British out of... come on, screensaver, yeah, save me. Bring out of their control, they started a civil war. Over 100,000 died. Just like that, you know, there were blood reeking out of houses in smokes. It was that bad. And eventually they had to cut the countries into pieces. So for example, Pakistan that's left of India used to be India, but they had to give it as a peace treaty because they didn't want this civil war to continue to the Muslims. So the Muslims that were in India had to go there. I mean, this is only creating dissidency amongst the people. It's creating rifts amongst the people. It's not creating some form of unification. It destroys cultures. It promotes just to remove cultures in the long run, because with all this holy war that's going on, they're gonna use this as a weapon later and say, look at what the religion has done to us. It has never done anything good to us. And this is a constant threat to us. They will use every of these things as a weapon towards us, and anything they don't want us to hear, they'll just cover up. They will censor fake news like InfoWars. They will just remove it from the map because they don't want to hear it, because that goes against their agendas. And of course, my phone. And Poland, we have Poland. You know what happened there? They were out of the map for over 100 years, but because of their nationalism, of their bravery, they managed to fight back and regain their borders. They regained their nationality. They remained Polish. And well, sadly, some years after that, Second World War happened. That was at the end of the First World War. They regained their borders, and well, the Second World War happened, where they got attacked from the south and the north, and they you know, sort of lost themselves again. But again, they had to fight back through this partisanship against this communists that remained in control after the Second World War. And they had to endure Auschwitz. I mean, such bravery does not come from globalism. Globalism is cowards that rigs things in secret. They do these plots and they lie to your face. They lie, they lie, they lie, they lie. That's all we do nowadays. We lie. There's no honesty, there's no honor, there's no tradition. We're evil. We don't do good things. And we refuse to admit this. Why? Because that would make us look bad. But we are bad. We have devolved from these 10 commandments. Listen to them. You know, read them. I won't say them. Read them. Try to interpret the meaning of that. If everyone would follow that in this world, the true meaning of it, and not some made up hypocritical self-righteous ideas that you should burn entire other civilizations to accomplish this, or to merge everyone into one and same place in an unnatural fashion, that's just murder itself, then would have peace on earth. I mean, you wouldn't need to take in refugees from everyone, because everyone would be happy on their borders. We wouldn't need war. We could expand our scientific and economical stability, and we would be able to have much more diplomatic solutions to things, because we'd all be peaceful, right? But that doesn't happen, because we always want more, and this is less. This is normal. This is order. This is where you should, you know, sit down and be, I'm happy with this. You know, I don't need to go any further, you know. But they always want more. They're greedy. They want to take the step further. Always. And it will always be so. And with these migrants that's coming in, the refugees, it's only to change demographics. It's to shake up the metagame. You know, this is a game of politics, a game of thrones, if you will. This is not about you and other people's children. You know, it's not about your people's children. It's about their gaining power. They don't care about the refugees. They take them in here and then they hope, oh, yep, now people gonna make friends and will just be gaining more powers, because they will be influenced by the socialist parties that they're gonna vote for them, because obviously they're best choice for these outlanders. And in the long run, you know, slowly but steadily, this left Nazi is gonna erase all races and just make it into one eventually, and all cultures as well will die. Religions will, you know, be redundant, and people will simply bow down to one world government. That's their agenda. It's slowly but steadily happening. If you listen to how many people Sweden took in, we took, for example, in 176 Syrian refugees. Syrian, I'm pretty sure it was just Syrian. Perhaps it was worldwide, but even if it was worldwide, even if it was from everywhere, and it's not that many people that come from Europe, usually it's from marriage. I mean, why would someone from Europe come here? But we take people in, you know, from all over the world, Africa, especially Middle East. I mean, if you look at a school in my hometown, most of them are gonna be filled with Arab kids and perhaps 1 in 20 Swedish kids. You know, it's that bad in some schools. Not every school, but in some schools. Very concentrated areas. I mean, every restaurant around me here is owned by Arabs. I can't go out and socialize in my own local area, because there's only that, and I don't want to engage myself in social contact with those people. I want to be with my own kin. But I don't have that option. I'm forced to accept this. But they say tolerate, but they want you to accept it. It's a different thing. But anyway, we had 176 Syrian refugees and a lot of unaccounted people to come in, because we had open borders basically. These is a quite high number. And they have tried to kick people out, but you know, they try to kick a whole bunch of people out, but still 30,000 went missing. I mean, no wonder. We can't even keep on track on our own people already in this country. Less than 15% of the crimes are being solved, and they expect to control even more people and not recruit any more police. Yeah, you're fucking stupid, Sweden. Seriously. So, these 176,000 plus, it's gonna be plus that. And let's count downwards, alright? Let's make it simple, 100,000. Even if we take 100,000 a year, how many people, how much of the current populace is this? We are about 10 million, a little bit less than that in Sweden. And so 100,000 times 10, that makes a 10%, right? Because a million times 10 is 10 million. So we take in more than 1%. So let's say we take in 1.5% each year, or 1%. That's enough. And some people here won't make children, but they are encouraged to make children. I mean, they get benefits and everything, and constantly this flow of refugees, and we are being promoted or encouraged by people like the Pope to mate with them and engage in homosexual relationships, because we are declining in population, you know. So let's mate with them. How fast or how long will it be before there won't be any actual Swedish people left? I mean, they're saying this is nonsense because they're not allowed to think anything like this. This is Nazi thinking, but this left Nazi promotes our extinction. They promotes us being to one race. They want to mix us like dogs. That's what they're doing. They don't care about us. This is demographics. And eventually everyone will be voting for this socialist party that's puppets of these globalists that's carrying on this European, what's this called? European Union's orders. Because the European Union is obviously a puppet of the damn globalists. I mean, just listen to it. All they want is migrants. They want more migrants and more migrants and more migrants. That's the only thing they want. The only good thing we can do. It's our responsibility, as our Prime Minister says. And he is not representing Sweden for 1 second. He has sold our country out, and they have done so in many other countries. They did so in Poland as well. Once again, Poland was punished. Well, the Conservatives won an election, and what they tried to do was to replace this false media, their mainstream media that was lying and selling out their companies to other countries. They were just washing away their riches to other countries, and they wanted to put an end to that. But of course, the surrounding world saw them as dictators. They were started to become a regime, so they were denounced. You know, it's rather low blows here being dealt, but it's the truth. Look it up for yourself. It did happen. But anyways, I've tried to, with my interpretation of it and how it has been evolving and what it's leading into about this globalist. If we can't stop this, it will never stop. Once this imperialism takes place, and imperialism destroys culture, it destroys race, because it will enforce its law across all the world. You can say farewell America, farewell Russia, farewell China, farewell Sweden, farewell Saudi Arabia. It won't be anything like that. It will be as provinces, sectors, if you will. Perhaps it will be easier for these globalist freaks to decide for us what's better to call cities or parts of the world. Perhaps they will keep the old names, but still, we will be governed by one and the same people. And these people won't have our best interests in mind. They will tell you, you know, this is how you should feel about this, you know. There's no reason to feel any different. And if you feel any different, you need medication, because obviously you're sick. You're not supposed to feel bad about it. You're supposed to embrace it and love it. That's what they're gonna tell you. They're gonna destroy your free will. What we so cherish and hold dear, our freedom, but we will relinquish it to them. It's that simple. I hope I made some sense, but if you're still being skeptical or have already left the video, I suggest you to check out these channels I mentioned and far more other, to try to look for some proof yourself, to see what makes sense to you and not. I mean, in every legend there's some truth to it. Stories used to be told to just force people, or no, not force people, but perhaps force, but to exaggerate the stories, to give it better quality, to give it more inspiration, like, I fought 100 beasts with my bare hands! But he used his sword and there were perhaps 3 or 5 of them, but still he was brave and did it. But he did it to inspire others. Perhaps you will see the same here, or perhaps you'll actually agree. But regardless, I still suggest you to check it out for yourself, because things are going on. You have to sense this. I mean, this demoralization, destabilization into crisis and then normalization method. I mean, you have to realize this has been going on, and it's basically what's happening with the world. They want more chaos. They spread fake lies in the media. The fake media is nothing you can deny about. You have to see that when every headline is about Trump is negative, and about something like homosexuality is positive, that it has to be something in there between that, right? That's wrong. In any case, I wanted to try to give this reality check to the world, or at least warning that things that are bad is going on, and it will get a lot worse if we can't open our eyes and see to what's going on. Because this is the only way to stop this problem that we're having right now. That the people will stand up to these globalist freaks that think they're so much better than us, that they can dictate our future, how our children shall live, and, you know, like there's some belongings to them. We have to stand up to this now, before it's too late. And who knows? Maybe we can make them poorer, because they don't deserve that money and power they so dearly hold dear. This warning was brought to you by me, Azarelius. A simple man, a simple worker, a simple gamer. But yet I can see these things. And I hope many others will too in the future. For all our sakes. Thank you.